Word, son. What it do, YouTube? It's your boy Jay DiVine. Before we get into this video, man, or this episode, make sure you hit the like button, comment, subscribe, share the word, spread the links, because you know how I do. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, click the bell icon to notify every time I upload. Everywhere else, man, wherever you listen to this podcast on the platform, click whatever button corresponds to you in that platform so you can get more content, footage, episodes, whatever you want to call it, man. But whatever button correlates to following or subscribing, make sure you click that, man. Make sure you sit back, chill, take a pee break, pause the video or the podcast, get you some popcorn, because you know how I do. Today's date, ladies and gentlemen, is Tuesday, March 8th, 2022. It's your boy Just DiVine, J DiVine, J DiVine, Just. It don't matter. I'll answer either or. But yeah, man. Without further ado, let's get into this, man. I feel good, man. I feel really energized, man. I feel like I got some fresh topics to talk about, and we're gonna do a little bit of a deep dive. But like I said, man, sit back, chill, take a pee break, pause the video, get you some popcorn, or pause the podcast, whatever it is you got to do, my G. But let's get this thing started. Let's get up into it. So first things first, man. So I met a girl, you know what I'm saying. I met a girl, and you'll never believe how this came about, right? So let me just give you the story. So I was going to go wash clothes at this laundromat, and when I went to the laundromat, like I needed some change to go wash. So most of the time I would have already changed on me, which I had changed on me, but I didn't have enough at the time. So nearby where the laundromat is, there's like a grocery store. So I went to the grocery store and I needed to, get cash back or whatever. So when I did that, I went on ahead and just picked up like a small little bag of Skittles or whatever. So I picked up the Skittles or whatever. It was like a little small little bag, and I needed to, like I said, get cash back. So I picked the line. I saw the girl, but I didn't really pay her no mind. I thought she was kind of cute or whatever. So I just jumped in the line or whatever, right? So I got in line. I was next up, right? So I was like, she's like, hey, how you doing? I was like, how you doing? So I picked up the Skittles and I was going to pay for them. She was like, you ain't give me no bag of Skittles? I said, oh yeah, I got you. You for real? I said, yeah, I got you. She's like, oh, okay, cool. So she's all smiling and giggling and whatnot, and I picked up another bag of Skittles. So I told her, I said, but you do know that come with your number, right? And when I said that, bro, like she got all like blush. She started blushing. She got all like, real, excited and, overjoyous and stuff like that. So she wrote down her number. And I'm telling you, that's the fastest I ever seen somebody write down their number and give it to me. I swear to God. So she wrote down her number or whatever. And I was like, now, you sure this is you? And she's like, yeah, it's me. You can call it. I was like, okay, all right. So yeah, man, so I did that. And I went on ahead and washed clothes. Where I got in the car and I was just like, wow, I can't believe that really went down. I was surprised at myself because I never thought it would actually go down like that. So I got in the car, went to go wash clothes or whatever. Made sure I took the number, put it in my phone, and just in case I lost the paper. And washed clothes, came home later on that night, texted her, and so far so good, man. We've been texting for about 2 weeks now. Be seeing each other off and on. I think couple of days ago I bought her some lunch or whatever. So it's been really cool, man. It's been really, really cool. It's been a long time coming, but like I said, man, so far so good. I don't think it's subject to change. I hope not, but it feels good to finally get somebody really like, that really, likes you for you, or at least that's how I've been seeing it, but yeah, man, that was a cool interaction. So kudos to me for that, you know what I mean? But yeah, so that's my little, my little, I don't want to say love life, but that's how things are going on for me on my end, you know what I mean? Especially with the horror stories I've been telling you all about, the dating apps and talking to different women via internet and in person. It was just terrible. So it's cool to finally catch a break. I'll say that. Let's see. Okay, so next, man, I want to switch gears for a second, and I want to talk about the whole MJ versus LeBron debate, or LeBron versus MJ debate. Cause I've been seeing a lot of this shit going on lately, and I feel like I need to really, I really need to get into this topic because I got to speak for myself here, because it seems to me like there's a whole lot of generalizing going on. So let me just separate myself from the pack. Now, a lot of people I hear always say about MJ being better than LeBron. Most of the times, be older people that have seen or lived in the era where Michael Jordan or MJ was playing, and and they saw him at in his prime and experienced greatness at that time. But me personally, I was born in '95, so I didn't get a chance to see Jordan from his rookie year all the way up to his prime. You know what I'm saying? When I saw Michael Jordan, he was on the Wizards. You know what I mean? And that was pretty much him on his way out. So, I didn't see Michael Jordan playing. You know what I mean? Or at least at the time when I started really getting into basketball, I was watching people like who was there? Vince Carter, Allen Iverson, Kobe, Shaq, Tim Duncan, David Robinson. Let's see who else. Steve Nash at the time, Jason Kidd. Like I remember seeing these players. Like those are the people that I was focused on at that time, especially Shaq and Kobe and Iverson, and then Vince Carter at the same as that time. So as years go on, that's when I started really understanding basketball and who was who. But looking back on it now, God rest his soul, Kobe was the closest person to Jordan that anybody can ever imagine. I don't care what nobody says. He is the exact clone of Jordan, and Jordan knows that. Like that's why like Jordan has like complete respect for Kobe. Even before he passed, like there was like so much amount of respect. You know what I mean from Jordan when it comes to Kobe. You know what I'm saying? But see, I didn't watch Michael Jordan coming up like that. You know what I mean? I didn't get a chance to see him coming up in the league. Kobe was the closest thing for me when it came to Michael Jordan, you know what I mean? Because you got to understand it's a different generation, you know what I mean? So the fact that there's a different generation, you have people that are going to look at different things, you know what I mean? Or look at different players and say that that's the GOAT. Just like if you look at some rappers or some artists that say that, who's your favorite rapper growing up? Or, they'll say, was Tupac and Biggie your favorite rappers growing up? And they'll tell you no. Like I didn't grow up on Tupac and Big. Like, some people say 50 Cent, that was like my Tupac. Or some people might say this X, Y, and Z rapper was my Biggie or whoever, you know what I'm saying? But, when there's a different generation growing up, you have to understand that they're not going to look at the players that you saw back then as the greatest of all time or the GOATs or whatever you want to call them or as a great, only thing they can do is go back and look at history and see how great they were at that time, and then they'll consider it. But, they can't really say for sure that, oh yeah, this person was a great, he was this and he was that, and then they'll overrule whoever they're seeing now as the greatest. You get what I'm saying? So with there being a difference in generations, you're gonna have people that are going to say otherwise. You know what I mean? So as a result of that, you're gonna have a difference in positions when it comes to who they consider as great. So me and my stance, like I said, I didn't see MJ growing up. You know what I mean? So when I see people talk about LeBron being the GOAT, I mean, I'm inclined to agree. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta look at. I'll say this. I watched LeBron when he was on the Cavaliers. Because mind you, I was a Tracy McGrady fan. Like this one, Tracy McGrady was he was like the best. Like you couldn't tell me nothing about Tracy McGrady. When he came to the Rockets and it was him, Yao, Rafe Alston, and Luis Scola and the whole gang and Battier and all of them. When it was that team, you couldn't tell me nothing about the Rockets. You couldn't tell me nothing about Tracy McGrady. Tracy McGrady was shutting shit down. You couldn't tell me nothing about Tracy McGrady. But then eventually, time became a factor, and then that's when Tracy McGrady and them started to kind of not wither away, but it was just their time, so they went on ahead and just pass the torch on to whoever. So a friend of mine, he was heavy on LeBron, so I was like, who is LeBron James? Who is he? So I went and looked, and I remember I didn't watch him his rookie year, but I remember when he got in, I think maybe 2 or 3 years after. I'll say whenever T-Mac left or whenever the Rockets were started going through their rebuild, that's when I started watching LeBron. And let's not also forget D-Wade too. D-Wade is another one. But I started getting heavy on LeBron when the Rockets started going through their little rebuild because they didn't have nobody for the longest. So I was watching LeBron. I was like, damn, I was like, who is this? Who is this big old 6'8", 250 pounds at the time? Who is this? Who is this LeBron? Damn, this dude is huge. God, this dude is big. Like, damn. You know what I mean? So I just seen him just muscling through traffic, slamming on everybody. At the time, he wasn't a big shooter, but if you saw him coming through the lane, you see everybody just move. Like he parked the Red Sea like Moses when he was coming through the paint. You know what I mean? I was like, damn. I was like, this is LeBron. And my homeboy was like, I told you. He was like, I told you that this nigga's a beast. He is a beast. You know what I mean? That's when I started hearing, King James, and they started giving him the crown, and he adopted the line icon. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? This is when I started getting acclimated about who LeBron was. That eventually I started watching him. I kept watching him even more. Watched him even more. Watched him went to the playoffs when he played against the Celtics, and I remember the game where he played against the Celtics and he dunked on 2 or 3 people. I think it was 2 people. And that's when they said, LeBron James with no regard for human life. Like, I remember that. I remember it like it was yesterday. I'll never forget that. You know what I mean? But I remember one distinct thing about him is when he was the only person I knew, because I remember when it came to dunking, Vince Carter was the only person I know when it came to dunking that he was untouchable. But it was something about LeBron. Anytime he touched that ball, he was getting ready to slam it. You just knew he was coming with authority. You know what I mean? Like, you just knew when you saw LeBron come into the paint or he was about to attack the rack, you already knew what time it was. So everybody just you either moved or you get dunked on. Whichever fits you best, you just move. You know what I mean? You do it. So eventually, I started getting, hooked on to watching LeBron. Then it got to a point where I was just like, I respected this game so much at that time. Like, I was like, damn, this dude he's all right. You know what I mean? But at the time, I didn't see him as a all around scorer. I just knew him for him to be so big and strong and bully his way to the basket. Kind of how you see Antetokounmpo do now, now in this day and age. But then eventually, that's when it became the whole Kobe versus LeBron debate. You know what I mean? So I remember we used to be at school. We used to be at lunch. We used to have the most heated debates about LeBron and Kobe. You know what I mean? Nah, Kobe got 5 rings. Bro, it don't matter about rings, because I always hate when people put up rings. I hate when people use that in the conversation, because that was like the automatic get out of jail free card. If we talked about stats and if one was edging out the other in stats, they'll go immediately to the ring talk. How many rings LeBron got? How many rings he got? Okay, how many rings Kobe got? All right, then. That's what I thought. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was so annoying. I never forget the arguments we used to get into behind it. But, at that time, my generation's, not say LeBron, my generation's MJ was Kobe. You know what I mean? And God rest his soul, because I really wish I watched him at that time, because I was a Kobe hater. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was like, damn, I can't stand this nigga Kobe. Shit, I can't stand him. Nah, I'm with LeBron. I can't stand Kobe. Blah 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 blah. I couldn't stand it. You know what I mean? But like I said, Kobe was my generation's Kobe. I mean, I'm sorry. Kobe was my generation's LeBron. You know what I mean? That's the closest thing to MJ I will ever see, at least, while I'm watching him. Moving forward, so I watched LeBron go from the Cavaliers. Then I remember when he did the decision, when he pretty much held up a damn 30-minute spot on TV, just basically saying when he was about to go. Because I already knew, well, I don't say I already knew, but, it was about maybe it's time to leave, because every time he went to the playoffs, he got to the finals and he got swept. You know what I mean? Or he'll get to the playoffs and then they end up taking an early exit. So, eventually, like most players going to do if they're not loyal to what they're loyal to, or listen, we're not going to say about loyalty, but because everybody going to, if they don't leave, they're going to leave. But, if people going to leave, then, whatever it is, what it is. So that's when he said he taking his chance at South Beach. He teamed up with Chris Bosh, Wade, and it was LeBron. So the big 3, right? And then they built around that. That's when I saw a different side of LeBron. Like, Miami Heat LeBron was different. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you watch Miami Heat LeBron, then you watch Cavalier LeBron, it was night and day. It was night and day. I ain't never seen LeBron shoot the ball so much, let alone be that accurate from the field. You know what I'm saying? And then also from 3, like that's probably the most shot taking or shot attempting LeBron I've ever seen. Because LeBron was evolving this game as time went on, because eventually it got to a point where he started to try to add shooting to his repertoire. So when he went from his rookie year to when he started getting more acclimated with the league, he started, shooting the ball a little more. He wasn't that good, but, I don't know. I'll say he wasn't as good shooting when he was with the Cavaliers at that time before he left than when he went to the Heat. Because LeBron, when he went to the Heat, that was when you had the most lethal LeBron. I say this all the time. Like, that was the most lethal LeBron we ever had. I remember watching LeBron when he was with the Heat. Oh my God. He was a menace. You know what I'm saying? Mind you, he already had the whole idea down packed that if I get to this basket, I'm going to muscle it to this basket and I'm going to slam it. And you either coming with me or you better move. It don't make a difference. I'm getting to this basket one way or another, however you like it. Now, the whole flopping thing, I feel y'all on that. It gets kind of annoying sometimes. I understand, all right? I would definitely give y'all that. You know what I mean? But when he was with the Heat, oh my God, man, it was just different. He was different, man. I remember watching at the time where the NBA wasn't. I think it was the NBA lockout. I think, and they was doing like some either it was the NBA lockout or it was like the bubble or whatever. I don't know. I remember, but I remember NBA TV was playing some throwback games, and they were showing the Miami Heat versus I think it was the Celtics. I think was it Celtics or was it Spurs? I forget. All I know is LeBron was with the Heat, and oh my God, I was just like LeBron. Miami Heat LeBron was different. You know what I mean? That's the highest his field goal percentage has ever been. You know what I mean? Like he was shooting that rock with no problem, hitting turnarounds. Assist game was crazy. I mean, it's always been crazy, but Miami Heat LeBron was just different. Like he was different. You could see it. It was night and day, bro. You know what I mean? So, of course, you know, the first year they got together, they went to the finals. They got beat by the Mavericks. You know what I mean? I told people, I said, look, that's a lot of star power over there. You got D Wade, arguably one of the best shooting guards of all time, arguably. And then you got Chris Bosh over there. He was doing his thing at power forward and center. You know what I mean? Shooting the rock, killing him on the post game. He was doing his thing. Then you had LeBron. Then you had Mike Miller at the time. Chalmers was there. Norris Cole was there. Then as we started adding, I think Chris Anderson was there. Haslam was there, I think. Rashard Lewis came on eventually. You had Joel Anthony was on there. I think Juwan Howard eventually came over there, but, you know, he was there for the ring. We all know that. They said Juwan Howard was a beast back then. I don't know. I didn't watch him, but you had you had I think if I didn't say Mike Miller, you had Mike Miller over there. James Jones came over there eventually. You know what I mean? Like he was forming a little team over there. You know what I mean? So then I think either the next year or the year after next, that's when they went to the finals, played against the Spurs. They beat the Spurs. I think they played against KD and then they beat KD. I remember that block he did on Thiago Splitter. I stood up on my bed. I was watching the game and I stood up on my bed when I saw him do that block to Thiago Splitter. Like, I was like, oh my God. I was like, you can't be for real. I was like, wow. And the crazy thing is that could have went both ways. You know what I'm saying? Either he would have blocked that, like Palm blocked it the way he did, or he would have got dunked on. Either way. But thank goodness the better outcome came out and he blocked that. And he stood there like what? You know what I'm saying? I remember seeing that. But you know, then eventually, like I said, years go on and just LeBron's game was just like you could see that he worked on his game extensively whenever he was whenever he went to the Heat. You could tell his game was evolving. Like I could see that. Any person that if you watch LeBron from his rookie year all the way up to when he got to the Heat, you could see that his game was worked on. He started shooting the ball a lot more versus just attacking the rack every chance he got. You know what I mean? Like he was becoming a lethal shooter per se. He was becoming one. Now he wasn't a lethal shooter like no Ray Allen when he got to the Heat, but you know, hey, I mean, he shot more than what he normally would do, and the fact that he was really like putting in that work, you could see that. You know what I mean? So fast forward to all that. So eventually he ended up leaving the Heat and he went back to the Cavaliers and joined up with Kyrie because that's when Kyrie and them got back together. So that's when the Cavaliers and stuff got back together. So that's when eventually he started going on a little further. Then he ended up winning one for the Cavaliers. And, you know, like I said, this is like LeBron was really out here. You know what I'm saying? Like this is all I know at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like LeBron is the only one I'm fixated on. So I hate it when people say like, you know, LeBron sexuals and you know, oh, was it y'all talk about LeBron, but MJ would. I'm just like, shut up, man. It's a different generation. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't sit here and constantly keep trying to clown the younger generation for following who they feel is great. You know what I'm saying? Like every player has the ability to be great. You know what I'm saying? Like people want to throw, oh well, if LeBron can't do X, Y, and Z, always comparing him to Jordan. Oh, if you can't do that, then he not a GOAT. I'm like, fam, like it's okay to create your own lane. Like that man is in his own lane. Same way with KD is in his own lane. Same way Kobe was in his own lane. Same way who else? Who else do you say? KD, LeBron, who else? Damn, I'm trying to think. You could say D Rose in his own league. John Moran is in his own lane. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody has their own lane and they're paving their own lane. You know what I'm saying? Eventually they get to a point where the comparison, like a lot of the times when they talk about comparisons, it's always either the TV shows where they argue, like First Take and shit like that, or Skip Bayless and the whole Shannon Sharp show, or it's always people that are like talking about the NBA, and then they're talking about comparisons, when in all honesty they're just trying to play to win. They're trying to be the best that they can be. You know what I mean? And that's what I see LeBron. I don't think he has much else left to prove. You know what I'm saying? Like go look at Melo, right? Melo ain't got a ring the first, right? But people respect him. That man is a 3-time gold medalist, if not 4-time. I might be messing this up. You know what I mean? But Melo is respected because of his game, let alone the fact that this man is he's a gold medalist for multiple years. You know what I mean? So it's like so yeah, he's a 3-time gold medalist. So with that being said, you know, they respect his game. They respect that. Like, I think, if you ask me, I think that getting a gold medal, I think that outweighs getting a ring, honestly. Because you're playing for a country. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're playing against the world's best of the best. Not like a league where, I mean, of course it's the best of the best in a league, but you're playing for a country. You're not playing for a team. You're representing your country. And the fact that you beat the country's best players of that country and you win a gold medal off of that, like, that's a hefty accomplishment. You know what I'm saying? I don't think people talk about that a lot. You know what I mean? So for the simple fact that, you know, you're a 3-time gold medalist, but you don't have a ring, like, I think them gold medals kind of outweigh them rings, honestly speaking. You know what I mean? But back to LeBron. So, yeah, the man paves his own lane. You know, he has, you know, schools that he does. He has fun foundations. He does fundraisers. Like, you know, he's really out here making things happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you can't blame the man for, you know, doing what he's doing. You gotta blame the people that's putting comparisons on him. You know what I mean? Like, he not playing for comparisons. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, you know, he's using that, the people that say negative shit about him, he's using that to fuel his game, that now he dropped 56, you know, just to prove a point. You know what I mean? But as far as like all the other shit, I don't think he's really worried about all the comparisons and stuff like that, because honestly, every NBA player, and I mean every, not just LeBron, but every NBA player wanted to be like MJ. That's just what it is. You understand what I'm saying? Some players can't achieve that. Some players can, some players can't. At this point, only person I would say that's closest to Jordan is Kobe. That's it. You know what I mean? But at the same as that time, that doesn't take away from LeBron and him doing his own thing. He can still be the GOAT and be in his own lane. There's nothing wrong with that. You understand what I'm saying? The man has accomplished a lot of shit. A lot. You understand what I'm saying? So for him to do all that and y'all don't call him the GOAT, it's like, come on. It's like you're diminishing a lot of shit that he's already done. Now, mind you, I'm just speaking for myself. I call him the GOAT for a reason. You know what I mean? Well, I don't know. If he's not the GOAT, I'll say legend. But I'm calling him the GOAT because he's the only person. I hit my mic, my bad. But he's the only person in the league that I've seen still active right now that's really still putting in that work. Like, he's still moving as if, like, you know, he's still fresh into the league, like he just came into the league. Now, mind you, a lot of NBA players do spend a lot of money in their bodies because, you know, that's their meal ticket. But at the same as that time, you know, for him to be in here still putting in that same amount of work with damn near almost the same workload, you know, it shows. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, give the man his flowers while he's still here. You know what I mean? Like, what will it take for y'all to finally give LeBron his flowers? So y'all wait for him to, God forbid, but you will wait for him to transition like Kobe and then say, oh man, LeBron was a GOAT, man. Like, you know, he did this, he did that. And, you know, that man's game is impeccable. And, you know what I'm saying? And then another thing I also want to cover too, I was watching an interview with Iman Shumpert. And Iman Shumpert, which I fuck with Iman Shumpert, but I was watching an interview with Iman Shumpert, and he was talking about him playing with LeBron, and he said the scariest thing about LeBron, which I can see that if you ever pay attention to it, the scariest thing about LeBron is he was like a superficial nerd. Like, I'm talking about beyond beyond reasonable levels of how smart about how smart his basketball IQ was. His basketball IQ was just at ridiculous levels. Like, he knew, as Iman Shumpert says, he knew the playbook, he knew the team's playbook, he knew the percentages of players from the field, from whatever side of the court that they're on. You know, I think there was a time where Iman Shumpert said that the guy shot 40-something% from the three, but in the left corner he shot 26% or something like that. But the fact that he knew the percentages, he knew everybody's percentages, he knew everybody was supposed to be on the court. He could call the play before it even happens, and he'll watch it all just all take place. He saw that man. He said that man was on a cut. He cut. He's on a flinch. If you flinch, cut behind him. And mind you, this is all from Iman Shumpert's interview. But the fact that this man has a scary good basketball IQ, and I don't think a lot of people talk about that unless you're talking about the actual like basketball heads, like the actual basketball players. If you look, like, this man has crazy IQ. You know what I mean? I never paid attention to that until I started looking at him while he played, and I was like, damn, he ain't lying. You know what I mean? But back to what I was saying, but what will it take for y'all to finally understand like how great LeBron is? You know what I'm saying? Will it take for him to, God forbid, transition like Kobe? Then all of a sudden now it's love all of a sudden, or is it going to be the same hate, which I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be because people are fucking nasty nowadays. But it's going to take for that in order for people to understand greatness. So I wrap all that up, and I say that just to say, you know, LeBron is the GOAT to me because I grew up watching him the most. Now, I didn't really grow up watching Kobe like that, honestly, you know what I mean? But I respect the game. But if Tracy McGrady was still here, I'll give Tracy McGrady the same amount of flowers. Like, I fuck with Tracy McGrady. I fucks with him. But as far as like who I watched the most after Tracy McGrady was gone was LeBron. Like, I was hooked onto LeBron. So watching him from the Cavaliers to the Heat, back to the Cavaliers to the Lakers, when watching him just from that time span do so much and still have game and still is elevating at the same as that time, like that to me, that's like that's God tier. Not sacrilegious, I know, but that's God tier, God leveling of game of basketball to me. You know what I'm saying? To me. You know what I mean? And I don't care what your opinion is. You say whatever you want to feel, however you feel. I don't care. You know what I mean? That's you. That's how you feel. But at this point in my life, in my life cycle, LeBron to me is going. He's going to forever be the GOAT. You know what I mean? He came back, got a ring for the Cavaliers. You know what I mean? What he's been trying to do since his rookie year. He wanted to do that, but didn't have the star power. He was always putting the team on his back, which I don't think a lot of people cover that neither. You know what I mean? But you know, he didn't have the star power at the time to bring the what was I gonna say? To bring the bring the ring home to the Cavaliers. But you know, what can you do? There's only so much you can do. Then I think that's when a lot of people started doing the whole Kobe versus LeBron thing. Oh no, LeBron, right? He ain't got no killer instinct. Kobe would pull up a three in three people's faces and this shit still go in, and he'll put the team on his back and da da da. Like, bro, it is what it is, man. Like, you know, like I said, they're in their own lane. You know what I mean? Eventually it'll come to a point where at the end they're going to be labeled as the greatest of all time. That's just what it is. Like, to me, in my eyes. He won the greatest of all time to me when he came back and he won a ring for the Cavaliers. That was the GOAT. The GOAT talks stopped after that for me. You know what I mean? Like that was solidified in my book because the Cavaliers haven't won the championship in God knows how long. But when he did that, I was like, yeah, that's GOAT shit right there. For a franchise that hasn't won a finals since so long ago, and he came back and brought them one, I was like, LeBron got it. LeBron got that shit. Now, as for the Lakers right now, can't really speak on that because I forgot when he got a ring with the Lakers. But but as for the Lakers right now, Lakers are terrible. Not gonna lie to you, they're awful. But but when LeBron came back and he won for the Cavaliers, he won with the Cavaliers, and also let's not also forget now, Kyrie played a hand in that too. Kyrie played a hand in that. A lot of mind you, it's always a team-based thing. LeBron's always been a team player. He's never been a selfish, oh, give me the ball, get out the way. Nah, like he's always been one to involve his team. So you can't blame a guy for having that type of mentality. He wants to get everybody. He wants to get everybody involved, and then wherever you see fit, you just get in there and then just play your role. But other than that, what can you say, man? I mean, the guy's damn good at his job. He does damn good. So I wrap all that up to say we're gonna move on to the next topic. But I say all that to say LeBron, in my eyes, is the GOAT. Can't nobody change my mind. I don't care nothing about your MJ comparisons. I don't care nothing about the Kobe comparisons. God rest his soul. I respect Kobe. Kobe's also a GOAT. But I don't care nothing about, y'all are using the GOAT word a little too loose nowadays. I don't give a fuck about none of that. Okay, it's a different generation. If you watch something totally different, if you follow a different player and you feel opposite, that's cool. But he's the GOAT in my eyes, and nobody's gonna change my mind on that. That's just what it is. So, like I said, feel how you feel. Agree on what you're gonna agree on. Disagree on what you're gonna agree on. Disagree on what you're gonna disagree on. But I could really care less, man. I could really, really care less, honestly. All that goofy ass bronze sexuals and another bronze sexual, another person that kissed LeBron's ass. Yeah, fuck you. I don't care. I really don't care. Go find something else better to do. But anyway, moving on. Let's see. So apparently, I heard that Calvin Ridley got suspended for the entire 2022 or 22-23 season because they caught him betting on football games or his team's games or whatever. I don't know, man. That's a little steep. You know what I mean? For him to be betting on, for him to be betting on games, I mean, that's kind of steep. It's different if you were to bet on games and then take a dive, just so you could fit that, just so you can fit the bet. But the entire 22-23 season, come on, man. That's a little steep, don't you think? The entire season, you got players that beat their wives, you got players that knock out their girlfriends, you got players that have done heinous shit. You know what I'm saying? And y'all have literally given them a pass. You know what I mean? Not necessarily a pass. You still suspended them, but you didn't do the entire damn season. You got players that have did the most unoffensive shit, if that's a word. The most unoffensive shit at smoking weed. Smoking weed. Niggas got caught for smoking weed and they got banished from the NFL. But let's also keep this in mind, though. The NFL is also sponsored by beer. They're sponsored by beer, which also contributes to car crashes, to sometimes domestic abuse, domestic violence, or just violence in general. And the NFL is also a violent sport, so do as you will with that. But you have players that have gotten in trouble, banished from the league for smoking weed. Smoking weed, bruh. What's his name? Josh Gordon, Flash Gordon. That man was pretty much banished from the NFL for smoking weed, bruh. Weed, not meth, not cocaine, not speed, not heroin, but weed. Weed. I want you to understand that shit. Weed, bro. Just weed. That's it. Just weed. And that y'all banished that man from the NFL because of some goddamn weed. And you mean to tell me you're gonna ban this man? Not ban him, but you're gonna suspend him the entire NFL season over a damn bet? The man bet $1,500. It's not like, and at the same time, that's not even really like a lot, to tell you the truth. I'm not a gambler. $1,500 to a non-gambler sounds like a lot, but to a person that gambles a lot, not myself, but somebody who has a real gambling problem, $1,500, that's pocket change to them. You know what I mean? Especially how much Calvin Ridley. I'm sorry. As much money as Calvin Ridley's making, that ain't shit to him. You know what I mean? So it's just, people have done worse. People have done less offensive shit and gotten away with it. No, I'll take that back. People have done more offensive shit and got away with that. There we go. Like I said, domestic violence, drunk driving, killed some people, beat up some people, beat their wives, spouse, whatever. But they've got suspended only a few games and that was it. You know what I mean? You had Richie Incognito. I'm not even sure if they went through with that all the way. I'm not sure, but yeah, Richie Incognito throwing racial slurs at people. And I'm trying to think, did he ever get in trouble with that? Okay, I take that back. Okay, so Richie Incognito did get in trouble for doing the shit that he did. Okay, but like I said, my point is, people have done more offensive shit, and y'all have like given them like y'all cut them some slack. But the fact that gambling and smoking weed is against protocol in the NFL, but domestic violence or any of that other shit isn't, and you'll work with them and try to somehow reason with them somehow over that shit versus smoking weed and maybe some gambling. Really, NFL? Come on, man, get your shit together. And I'm not one of those ones that are like, oh, let's boycott the NFL because, you're a grown-ass man. You're a grown person. You're going to do what you're going to do. But, I just really feel like, the NFL just has some really stupid-ass politics. And I hate the fact that I really hate how they pick and choose what they're going to deal with. Now y'all will banish Kaepernick from the NFL. Y'all will banish him with no problem. You know what I mean? Because, at this point, some people say, oh, he not banned from the NFL. No teams want to fuck with him. He a drama queen. But, you have players that feel the same way, but they got to be quiet about it. You know what I mean? I see people rolling their eyes already. Ugh, here you go talk about Kaepernick again. Who cares about that bum? Kaepernick ain't no fucking bum. All right? You comparing him to somebody like the likes of Tom Brady or some other elite QB when Kaepernick literally can do the same shit if you just give him time to work on it. Which the man said he has not woken up a day without training and still stand mentally and physically prepared for the NFL if the time calls for it. Which I wish the Eagles would pick him up. I really wish they would. I really wish the Eagles would pick him up if they're looking for a backup QB. I would really love that. I would love to see a 2-man tandem with Hurts and Kaepernick, because Kaepernick can run that shit. I know he can. But that's a little sidebar. But y'all pretty much blackmailed or blackballed Kaepernick from the NFL because of what he felt true on, which was not a lie. It was not a lie. You know what I'm saying? But people love to spin the narrative about, oh, he kneeled for the flag. That's disrespectful. No, the fuck it ain't. No, it's not. Shut up. No, the fuck it's not. It's not illegal. It's not illegal, but it's not against the rules to kneel for the flag. It's not against the rules to stand up for something stand up for equality when that's what needs to be had. There's nothing wrong with that shit. There's nothing wrong with that. Because first of all, it's not even a lie. It's like real shit. You know what I mean? So the fact that y'all are like trying to flip the narrative and make it seem like, oh, he's in the wrong, he's this and he's that. It's like, dude, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't see what's going on and you don't see the bigger problem, you try to make it personal, like, fuck you. Like, you don't deserve a dog in the fight for this. Go sit down somewhere. But yeah, the Calvin Ridley suspension, man, that was it's a little bit extreme. I hope they pull back on that. But I put it to you like this: I rather them find that man, and then just let him play. I'd rather them do that. Let him get fined and then just let him play. Like, don't suspend that man for the entire damn season, because how's he gonna get paid then? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Find him $250,000, $500,000, whatever the fuck, and then just go on about it. Whatever. Just find him and keep him pushing. You know what I mean? Like, don't suspend the man the entire damn season. That's extreme, man. Come on, man. Just find him and keep it pushing. But moving on. So I'm not sure if any of y'all follow rap music. I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all do, but y'all don't follow this. Y'all probably don't follow the same type of music I do. But I remember back, like, I don't say, maybe a couple years ago, there was this group called Slaughterhouse, which was Royce da 5'9", Joe Budden, Joel Ortiz, and Crooked I, or it's King Crooked now, but there used to be this little rap group that Eminem put together. And for these guys, they're all elite MCs, all of them by themselves. Like, if you took each person out the group and gave them their own album to do what they want to do, each of them are going to come out with some chaotic. It's going to sound good. It's going to sound really, really good. Like, all of them by themselves have elite penmanship. It's just what it is. So, the group didn't take off because, the different climate that we're in, especially in music, because, we're not, I'm not going to say we, but, people aren't really flocking to the whole, lyrical, miracle rap, the actual bars. People are not really into that anymore. Now it's the whole melodic sound. The whole, just feel good music pretty much. So that's just what everybody's mostly into now. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you're into, but the whole thing about me is, like, if you're into that, that's cool. I like some of it too, but I'm not going to, like, put down an entire, side of rap or hip hop or whatever because that shit trash. I'm not fucking with that. Like, no, if it's okay to like it, but if that's just not your style, it's not your style. You know what I mean? But kudos to anyone that likes it. It's good for you. But I'm just not flocking to it. But anyway, so the group really didn't take off like that. So they was always like in limbo or whatever. Honestly, when I listened to the Slaughterhouse albums, I just wish the beat selection was a little better. Like, I feel like there could have been better beats to complement their styles. You know what I mean? But I feel like a lot of them were just like I guess you could say too manufactured. I guess maybe, I don't know. You could say probably that, but a lot of the times I used to see them, I would see them rap, and like, my God, like, these guys they can hold their own. But like I said, just the beat selections could be a little bit better. But yeah. So Slaughterhouse is a rap group composed of those four people. I would say players, and they happen to become, I guess, I don't want to say they're broke up or they're no more, but everybody's kind of just doing their own thing. Joe Budden got his podcast, whatever. He's retired, quote unquote, from rap. Yeah, Royce is over there doing his thing. He not retired from rap, but he's doing his own thing over there. You got Crooked Eye doing his thing, or King Crooked got him doing his thing. Joel Ortiz is doing his own thing, and then you have just everybody just doing their whole thing. And if they want to come back together as a collective, then they'll do that. But recently, Joel Ortiz and Crooked Eye, or King Crooked, I'm gonna just say Crooked. Crooked had they put together, I think it was a single. It was either one or two singles, and then they have an album coming out. I'm not sure if the album is called The Rise and Fall of Slaughterhouse or if that was the name of the single. I'm not sure. So I'm trying to just make sure I peruse carefully, because I don't want to make this shit sound different than what it is already. But so apparently, Crooked and Joel decided to put out a one or two singles or whatever, and it was and the logo on it was a pig. I'm not sure if it was a pig's head or it was just a pig, but it was a pig over a pit of fire or whatever, and it had something to do with Slaughterhouse, or allegedly. And I think it was called The Rise and Fall of Slaughterhouse. Like I said, I'm not sure if it's the single or if it's the album. I'm not sure, but that was the logo, and Joe and Royce had felt a little way about that or whatever. So they happened to get on IG Live, and they're kind of like expressing the differences. You can go look up the IG Live from like the full IG Live or whatever. So Joe and Royce was talking about how they felt a little indifferent about it. Like, how are you going to make a Slaughterhouse album, but you're not really, it's only 2/4 of the group of Slaughterhouse that's making this, that's making this album. So how are you going to, do the whole Slaughterhouse thing? Because their whole thing is like, they're like conflicted about, one half trying to use the Slaughterhouse name and trying to use it and make an album, and it's like, it's not really Slaughterhouse if it's only 2/4 of the group. If it's only one half of the group, it's not really Slaughterhouse then, you know what I mean? So they had a little back and forth or whatever. So eventually, not Royce and Joe, but Royce and Joe eventually were talking, and they were trying to figure out what was going on, and they felt a little way about it. So Joel ends up coming on the live. So they start talking about the deals and how there was a deal where, they had a deal on the table where they would do a Slaughterhouse album, but, Joe wasn't in it because of business reasons. Royce was like, I'll do it, but, if Joe not down, then I don't know. I'm not sure. You know what I mean? But Joe said he'll come out of retirement to do it if, X, Y, and Z, and if the business is right. Royce had his reasons, but it was basically leaning towards like more of a, I'll let you know type thing. So, so Joel was saying that they were saying no, and they weren't going to do it if it was this one, this, that, and the third, or, it was just a whole lot of back and forth going on. And honestly, man, like, that shit made me kind of like, made me a little sad, because, I hate to see like such a powerhouse of a group, especially like if you're into bars and you're into actual like rap, like rapidy rap, if you're really into that. You know what I'm saying? Like, to see these guys really like fall out behind that, not necessarily fall out, but just become in a big kerfuffle about it. Like, that shit makes me feel away. Like, I hate seeing that, because these guys could tear shit down at any given point in time. Like, this is how lethal these guys are when it comes to their pens. You know what I mean? So then so Joe was like, it's kind of fucked up how, you trying to talk about Slaughterhouse, but the Slaughterhouse group really actually ain't all the way there. So like, how could you be, going about that? And then, I think, it got just a bunch of back and forth, bickering back and forth or whatever. So, So Joe was all, you know how Joe Budden always try to do, always try to show love all the time before he tries to like tear into you. So he tries to he tries to tell Joel that like, hey man, look, I support you and everything that you do, but I can't get behind this album. Like, I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, hey, I support you, and then Joel was like, if you support me, then support the album. And Joe said, and I quote, not exactly quote, but he paraphrased something like, I don't have to support you and the album. Like, that album can suck my dick. And I kid you not, he legit said suck my dick when it came to the album, right? He wasn't referring to Joel about, oh, Joel can suck my dick. He didn't say that. He said that in terms of the album. Like, the album can suck my dick. So that's what he was saying. So then Joel immediately got pissed. And he was like, you know what? All right, that's cool, bro. You know what? You gonna wish you took that. You gonna wish you retorted that statement. But it's cool. I'm out. And he got off the live or whatever. So Royce is peaceful as ever. Letting them talk it out or whatever. And then Royce chimed in a few times. You know what I mean? Everybody treads lightly when it comes to Royce, because if you know Royce's history, you know. But you know what I mean? So like I said, that live, like I said, you have to watch the video. Don't take my word for it. You have to watch it. But seeing them go through that, man, that really made me a little sad, man, because I really hate seeing just elite penmanship or elite pens from these rappers, and they can't come together and like really like knock some shit down, and they having to fall out, quote unquote, over an argument about whatever it is. And I hate the fact that it actually came to that. I hate that, but it is what it is, man. I hope that they eventually settle their differences, and hopefully it's not what we think it is, hopefully, but what can you do? So that's how that went down. But so I know last podcast I said that I was going to see about emulating my console. So I was trying to do it, man, but I'm not gonna lie to you, that shit is complicated. Like, what I mean, it's so many steps, and then it's so many things to do, and then like not everything works at the same exact time. Like I was watching a tutorial on how to do it. Because if I wanted to, I could get the modded version of 2K5 on my Series X console, like with all the new updated logos and the different shaders and textures and stuff like that. I could do that if I want to, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like it just takes a lot of setting up, and it's just really a headache, you know what I mean? Because certain things don't work, and people in the comment section not having the same issues as I'm having, so I got to do extensive research on how to do it. It's just a headache, man. So so I'm kind of taking a backseat to that, but I'm still trying to fight. I'm still fighting to do that. So hopefully everything turns out good on that. But staying on the topic of video games for a second here, I was reading this article by Doug Bowser or whatever, or if I'm not mistaken, Doug Bowser said something along the lines of anybody who has a Wii, they're gonna self-destruct in 2023. Yeah, man, I think I might be paraphrasing, but he said along the lines of like people that have a fully functioning Wii still should have it self-destruct in 2023. And that bothered me, man, because my thing is this: if you have a console, right? Let's just say I still had a PS2, right, and that shit was still kicking. Even though you've given up support on it, I'm not sure how accurate that is, if that's even possible, to the point where like the Wii would just stop working. But if I have a PS2 and that shit is still kicking, even though you stop support on it, you don't really like have much support on it. So if it's done, it's done. But why try to force your fans to try to get with the times? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know people's financial standings. You don't know people's situations. You don't know how people feel about current consoles, how they feel if they should just hold on to what they have until something better comes out. You don't know that. You know what I'm saying? I think Doug Bowser actually works for Nintendo. I don't think he's the one that actually did the article. But like I said, you don't know these things. So for you to even like think of something like that, even if it's not even possible, if you even say some shit like that really makes people feel a way about that. You know what I mean? Oh, it was a joke, but people don't take that shit as a joke. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got people that really hold on to these consoles because that's near and dear to them. You know what I mean? So who are you to sit here and say that, oh, they can't do this, why, not this, why, but, they can't do X, Y, and Z because, you know, this console is too old. And I know people that still have the Super Nintendo right now, working condition and everything. I know people that still have that. Not the newly remastered one, but the old one that came out a long time ago. But they just kept up. They kept up the maintenance on it. They kept up with it. They made sure everything was all clean, working condition, and they took care of it. And it's still in working condition, like as if you bought it out of the store. You know what I mean? But, you know, for you to try to usher people into the new consoles and try to get them on board, because I know that they're supposed to have like some the new Wii Sports or whatever. Not gonna lie to you, that shit looks kind of. It looks like the shit whoever did it is on acid. That's what it looks like. You know what I mean? Like, Wii Sports is so classic and legendary to me that I don't think, like, if they made a new Wii Sports, I don't think that would ever top the old one. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. You can't tell me any different. But Wii Sports is just classic on Wii. There's nothing that can beat that. And the only reason why I say that is because that was the first thing that I played when I first started playing the Wii for the first time, because my cousins had one. And I remember when I went to their house, like, that's all I used to play was just Wii. Like, I used to literally leave my cousin's house, my upper body sore just from playing the Wii all night long. You know what I mean? From playing baseball to playing bowling to playing Wii boxing. Like, I used to legit sit up all night and damn near wake up in the morning sore, upper body wise, because I used to play Wii Sports all day long, all day and all night. That's what I used to do. You know what I mean? But you know, for him to say that in the article, man, and if that's possible and that's what they're trying to do, that's really fucked up, man. That's really, really fucked up. And I don't think that I think he needs to retract that and say, oh, I was just kidding. You know, everybody have what they have. Because if you look back, that same kind of sentiment, if you look back at Sony on their side, remember they were talking about taking the PlayStation Store off, the PS3 and PS Vita. Remember they were talking about that shit? They were talking about closing it down. Then they got so much backlash behind it that they was like, okay, no, we'll keep it around, you know, but we're going to be taking off some features. But you can still buy PS3 games on the store. And he was like, yeah, motherfucker, I thought so. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, that wasn't a cool thing to say from Doug Bowser from Nintendo. He might even be from Nintendo, but whatever. All I know was Nintendo was trying to say that Nintendo Wii's should self-destruct in 2023, or they need to, or they're going to self-destruct in 2023. That shit not cool, bro. So if I were Nintendo, I retract that statement real quick and just say, well, we were joking. We want everybody to enjoy the consoles or something. But that's kind of fucked up for y'all to say that. Because I have a Wii right now. I legit have a Wii. And for me to only have it for just maybe a year after I bought it, because I bought it, like, you know, used, but it was still in good condition. But for me to have it only this long and then all of a sudden it just goes kaput on me, like, come on, bro. Like, that shit not cool. You know what I mean? But another thing, I want to talk about that damn Steam Deck, man. I don't know what's the hype behind the Steam Deck. It looks like just a glorified handheld console. That's what it looks like. You know what I mean? I don't have any desire to pick that shit up at all. You know what I mean? Those Steam Decks kind of remind me of them Alienware consoles, quote unquote, where they used to run off of Steam and you could play your games off of the Alienware console. All you had to do was connect it to a monitor or your TV and you could play your games like that. That's what the Steam Deck reminds me of. You know what I mean? So I don't really see the hype behind it. To me, it looks like a Nintendo Switch on steroids. That's what it looks like. That button placement, that shit looks so weird. I'm not gonna lie to you. It looks really, really weird. I know people who have actually like bought it and are looking forward to getting a Steam Deck, but I don't know, man. I think the Steam Deck's like $400, and I think it goes up maybe another extra $100 or something like that, whatever model you're picking up. I don't really know, but all I know is I'm not sure about that Steam Deck, man, because it looks weird. It looks really, really weird. So I want to talk about also Battlefield 2042 put out an update not too long ago, and this is the update that's supposed to that adds the scoreboard, and they tweaked a bunch of other stuff. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Battlefield gonna have to do one hell of a pivot in order to bring their fans back. I'm still on board because I get what they're trying to do and I know where they're coming from, because I remember the past iterations of Battlefield being, you know, all twisted up the way that it was, and it took some time for it to finally unravel and get it back on board. But I think that they can do it. It's just a matter of time that that it takes for them to actually get it right. You know what I mean? But I'm still rooting for them. But they're gonna have to do one hell of a pivot to make a comeback. Because I know people that are already quitting Battlefield, or I know some people that are just putting it off to the side, like myself. I'm not outing them. I'm not putting them down because I already know that they're I know that they I know that they're trying to, make the game better. So I'm giving them their chance or giving them time to get it right. Because there's other first person shooters to play. So I'm not just necessarily harping on Battlefield 2042. I just want to play that, and if they're not gonna fix it, then I'm not gonna play anything else. Like, dude, come on, man, go find something else to play. I've been playing Sandstorm. I've been playing Insurgency Sandstorm the past few days. Not gonna lie to you, the game feels really, really good. You know what I mean? It takes a little while to finally get used to it and get back to like the swing of it, but I just been finding other stuff to play. I've been playing Hell Let Loose. I'm playing Enlisted. You know what I mean? Just different first person shooters. Trying to not play Call of Duty anymore. I'm trying not to play Call of Duty because Call of Duty really kind of, they're iffy, especially with the algorithm. But you know what I mean? But like I said, Battlefield's going to do one hell of a pivot to come back, and I believe in them. Like I said, I'm still giving them their time to sort out their kinks, whatever they need to do. But they most recently put out an update that's supposed to fix the scoreboard. That gives them an actual scoreboard for them to read. But I know it's minuscule, but some people were clamoring for that, so they gave it to them. All I know is I appreciate them just being open and honest about what's been going on, and they know that they're losing players. They've also been talking about taking 128 player count and cutting that down to 64 instead, which I really hope they do that, because 128 was a bad idea. That was a real bad idea. Unless they plan on fixing the run and walk speeds, which I think that's probably gonna be a bad idea. But if they cut it down to 64 and just leave it like that, I think that's probably the best move for them, because 128 is way too much. And I understand the maps are big, but at the same exact time, y'all gonna have to cut the maps down to size and make it fit 64 players. That's the best bet. Because when they did Conquest 64, that's all I played. The engagement times were better. I didn't have to go so damn far. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, the biggest thing of them all was the engagement times. Enemies are always there. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have to go so damn far. I didn't have to traverse so damn far. You know what I mean? So I think 64 Conquest, or just 64 games in general, 64-man games in general, are just better. You know what I mean? So I think they should have kept with that instead of deviating to a 128. Like I said, that sounds good, but the 128, I would always see get filled by bots a lot of times, and I hated playing against bots. They still counted as actual kills, but the kills didn't hit the same when it's a bot. You know what I mean? It feels like the Call of Duty shit where you could go into the multiplayer and you could put bots in instead of actual humans. It's kind of like that almost. You know what I'm saying? So the kills just don't hit the same. But I'm still rooting for 2042, man. Hopefully they get it together. So Gran Turismo 7 came out most recently, man, and I gotta say, man, I've been waiting for this game for the longest, man. Like, Gran Turismo 7, let me just put it in context for you. Gran Turismo 7 is like Gran Turismo 3. Gran Turismo 3 was like their turning point for Polyphony Digital, or whatever their name is. But for Polyphony, that was like their turning point. And Gran Turismo was just one of the most simulated racers, one, and then two, it looked so good for the generation. Gran Turismo 3, I remember, looked so good on PS2. Like, that was the one time I seen PS2 literally get pushed to their graphical limits. You know what I mean? Then we got to the PS3 and it looked even better when they did GT5 Prologue. But then they did Gran Turismo, what was that, 6, I think? Yeah, because they did Gran Turismo 5. Yeah, it was Gran Turismo 5 Prologue. I think they did 5. And then they did 6. But I think 6 was Sport, I think. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think 6 was Sport. But anyway, but Gran Turismo 3 was just graphically good. You know what I mean? Like, getting your license, learning different parts of the track, learning different techniques. You had that. Then you had, the different races you had to do, which I remember vividly when I do the endurance races, where you had to, see, at the time, you didn't have to worry about the fuel consumption thing. You had to worry about making sure your tires were good, because you had a tire thing at the bottom right hand corner, and they all were blue for it being cold. And then as the time rolled on, eventually your tires would change colors, and it went from blue. Then it went through the whole color spectrum, but you could tell when your tires were going bad when they started turning red. When they started turning red, they were hot. You lost grip, all types of shit. So So you had to learn how to pit. You had to learn how to time your pits. All you had to do is just go into the pit. It'll take over the car for you, do the auto drive thing, pull into the pit, lift your car, take the tires off, put them back on, drop down, and then you go back off into the pit, and then you jump back on the race. But I remember they had the 100 lap races. They had the Formula One cars. You had this one car that was called it's called the Suzuki Escudo Peaks, if I'm not mistaken, which I remember in the PlayStation magazine, they would give you like this cool little trick where you can tune the car. You put weight on the wing, and once you hit a certain miles an hour, the car will stand up. Like, it'll legit pop a wheelie. I'll never forget that. If Gran Turismo's smart, if they smart over there, they will add that car back and let you do that. If they smart, they'll do it. But yeah, man. But just Gran Turismo 3, that really just held a real firm spot in my heart. You know what I mean? Seeing how they really took racing seriously. Then going back into Gran Turismo 7, where they put down all the shenanigans and went back to what made them whole, which was Gran Turismo 3. And Gran Turismo 7 is a great. If you're into simulation racing, that is a great game. I love it. I love Gran Turismo 7. You know what I mean? But I've been enjoying it, man. I've been really, really enjoying it. Of course, the only thing that I don't like is the fact they have microtransactions, and it's not, you can't buy cars, but you can buy like credits for your account, and you can top up the Gran Turismo credits. You can do that, but I hate the fact that they did that, because when it was on Gran Turismo 3, you didn't have all that. You had to legitimately like do races and do different stuff to save up money so you can buy parts or buy cars or whatever you're trying to do. You had to do that. I remember when my dad did it. I'll never forget. He had $11 million in credits. He had $11 million in credits on Gran Turismo 3. I was like, God damn, how the fuck did he get so much? You know what I mean? Mind you, them credits weren't easy to come around either. You had to do some races, to get all that money. You know what I mean? You had the championship races where like you had some where, of course, it was points. So once you did a certain amount of races and you were so far in the leaderboard, you could skip out of some races and still be in the lead. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, what was I gonna say? But yeah, Gran Turismo 7, man, it takes me back to Gran Turismo 3 days. So if you're into sim racing, man, definitely go pick up Gran Turismo 7. You trust me, you won't regret it. You really, really won't regret it. But yeah, man. So I want to talk about also Fight Night versus Esports Boxing Club, man. I gotta say, I'm probably not gonna stay on this topic too long, but I just gotta say, man, the whole Fight Night thing, man. I remember playing. What was the first Fight Night I remember playing? Before it came Fight Night, it was Knockout Kings. I remember Knockout Kings. I remember playing it on PS1. I remember playing it on PS1. I remember playing it then at Knockout Kings 2001, 2002 I didn't play. 2003 I remember playing, and then 2004 that's when they changed it to Fight Night and Roy Jones was on the cover. I'll never forget how Fight Night 04 was. I was just like, man, this is the shit. You know what I mean? And a lot of things was like, aside from it being Roy Jones on the cover, which at the time Roy Jones was dangerous as shit in the ring. You know what I mean? Like, he was that guy. I remember one thing for damn sure was the ragdoll. I love the knockout ragdolls. I loved them. You know what I mean? There was a little, floppy at times, but it made all the while to to knock somebody out. It really gave you that incentive to knock somebody out. But Fight Night 2004 was a great start to the Fight Night series. You had Fight Night Round 2, where you had the whole Cutman, EA Sports Cutman thing, and you had the EA Sports Haymakers, where you could wind up and do haymakers. If you see any of my lives where I played Fight Night Round 2, I knew how to combine the haymakers. I knew how to do at least 2 or 3 haymakers in succession. I knew how to do them. But, that's when they had that. That's when they would be really being innovative. Then you had Fight Night Round 3, and they went to the 360 with it. I'll never forget the trailer I seen. And I remember how it looked. It looked really, really good graphically. And then I'll never forget whenever, I think it was Bernard Hopkins and Roy Jones. I remember Bernard Hopkins had hit Roy. And it was a knockout punch because, they had that thing called In the Zone where he would stun somebody. And then, he'll be stunned or whatever. And if you hit him, you would hit him and you would see his the opposite cheek, you'll see it ripple, and he had spit coming out of his mouth or whatever. At that time, that was cutting edge technology for me. I was like, oh shit. I was like, yo, I gotta get this. And I got a 360. I got one. But that 360 didn't last that damn long because the first batch of 360s they had a shit ton of problems. So yeah, but fighting at round 3, that's when they were starting to like make their changes. Then fighting at round 4 came out, and that was like, not gonna lie to you, fighting at round 4 was probably the most aesthetically appeasing. Aesthetically appeasing. There we go. That was probably one of the games where I was like, I would literally like just watch it. I go to replay mode sometimes and look, and I'm just like, damn, they did a great job. But when you start taking it seriously and you went in there and you started playing online and stuff like that, then that's when you saw like how funny it'd be sometimes, like especially playing against computer. Like fighting around 4, when I see that, when I play that game, it just reminds me of how much that game caters more to counterpunching versus you actually working the jab, or you're actually boxing instead of just waiting on a counter to make the most amount of damage. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what fighting around 4 reminds me of, just a counter fest. That's all it is. Then when you go to fighting that champion, that's when they allowed you to still be able to, to actually box. You can still jab how you want. You can still, do your hooks or whatever. Granted that the guy's head movement was terrible. You can still get your jab. So now the shots will still come in, versus Fight Night, where if your block meter was full, no matter the power of the guy or no matter what angle the shot was coming in at, it was blocked. If you timed it right, it was always a counter. Versus it on Fight Night, which to me was more realistic, even though that blocking was a rating instead of it just being a meter and it being just one punch. And also your block meter, your block rating and your reflexes, depending on how well you got blocked and how fast he went from his head to his body if you were holding block. You know what I'm saying? Then at times, like I said, as it would in the actual fight, your blocking will get deteriorated the longer you hold it. You can't hold block forever and expect shots to not come in eventually. You know what I mean? So I think they did a great job with that, which somebody on the video disagreed with me on that, which I was cool with that, you know what I'm saying? But, I really felt like, just holding block and waiting for a meter to dwindle down, for shots to start coming in, that just that don't cut it for me. Because like I said, eventually over time, especially somebody's like real powerful, like let's say like a Joe Frazier or something like that, you can stand there and hold block. You can stand there and try to block Joe Frazier. Maybe 1 or 2 shots might be okay for them to be a block, but eventually them shits is gonna start coming in eventually. You know what I mean? So having a block meter that doesn't excuse the angles or the power that the shots are coming in and the speed that the power is being landed, the speed that the punch is being thrown with. That doesn't a block meter doesn't complement how strong or how fast a fighter is with his punches. You know what I mean? It just makes it seem like he's hitting a brick wall. You know what I mean? So Fighting Champion did a good job with that, in my humble opinion. Fuck that. It's not even an opinion. They did a good job with that. If they were trying to like look at a more serious side of boxing and they looked at all aspects of it, that was a great job. Like they did a really, really great job with that. But eventually it got to a point where they just hit a stalemate. So they left the Fight Night series and started working on UFC. Now, that's an entire subject on its own. I don't really too much care for UFC anymore, to be honest with you. I mean, UFC is cool, but I don't really want another UFC title from EA. I don't. EA. I mean, so with Esports Boxing Club, seeing how they're taking care of footwork and how they're doing the footwork, the punches, and the whole body morphing technology and the rag dolls when they get knocked out, or certain shots will knock certain people down. A liver shot will set them down if you're not defending properly like you're supposed to. Like all these avenues that Steel City Interactive is looking at, like that's an attention to detail that we want from EA. But for EA to come out and say, "Oh yeah, we're working on the Fight Night title. It's in development," when Steel City Interactive is starting to gain some traction, which the traction has already been there, but the fact that they're gaining traction now and they started getting a little bit of a following, now all of a sudden EA is scared and they want to now all of a sudden say, "Oh yeah, we're working on something too. Yeah, we'll let you know when it's coming out." Like EA, sit your ass down, bro. Like let somebody else have it for once. You know what I mean? You already signed the NFL away to only exclusive shit from y'all. You know what I mean? Nobody else can make a football game. They can, but they can't use the NFL in its likeness all like how it's right now. You can't use their current likeness. But, y'all just got out of a out of a settlement for NCAA. So, I mean, come on, man. The point I'm trying to make is, man, Esports Boxing Club is going to be the future for boxing games, boxing video games in general. You know what I mean? You can say whatever you want, however you want to say it. It don't make a difference. But, EA really has to get themselves sorted out and figure out what exactly they're going to do, because there is absolutely no damn way how a AAA company is going to just allow another. I don't understand how a AAA company is going to allow somebody like Steel City Interactive to ruffle their feathers so bad to the point where they got to say that, oh yeah, we got another one in development. But it's like, no, y'all are focused on UFC. Stay focused on UFC. Let Steel City have the boxing scene. Let them have that. Because if y'all try to split the team down the middle between UFC and Fight Night, we're going to get a shitty Fight Night. And UFC is already terrible as is already. So just imagine how worse it would get if they split the team down the middle. You know what I mean? But I'm hyped for Esports Boxing Club, man. I heard recently that they're letting some YouTubers test it out. I'm going to try to get in line for that so I can test it out my damn self. Hopefully they'll look at me. I'm gonna try to reach out to them, but I'm gonna definitely try to get my hands on the alpha and see if I can test it out my damn self. But yeah, man, I'm gonna wrap this podcast on up. I appreciate everybody, man. If you made it all the way to the end, I really appreciate y'all, man. Really appreciate all the little support y'all for showing these videos, man. For real, welcome all new subscribers, and yeah, man, I'm going to get out of here. Make sure you hit the like button, comment, subscribe, share the word, spread the links, because you know how I do. To everybody that's listening to this on any other platform other than YouTube, hit the like button, hit whatever button corresponds to you liking the video, or subscribe, follow, whatever it is that corresponds to your platform. Do that so you get more content from me, and you'll be notified every time I upload. And yeah, I'm going to get out of here, man. Appreciate all the support y'all for showing, man. Shout out to everybody that's been following the podcast, to everybody that listens. I know everybody's not really on to the whole podcast thing that I've been doing, but this is for the people that actually enjoy listening to the podcast. So I really appreciate y'all. Hopefully more people come along. But like I said, man, I'm going to wrap this thing on up, man. I'm going to finally get on up out of here, man. Great episode, great talks, and hopefully we'll be back with some more next week, with some more topics to talk about. But like I said, I'm going to get up out of here, man. It's your boy DiVine, and I'm signing out. Peace.